the bedroom, where the magic happens. And by that I mean pretty much always just dumping our stuff on the floor, never getting around to putting our laundry away, and dust and clutter accumulating on pretty much every surface. So what are we doing today?
We're decluttering our bedroom.
Exactly. It is the bedroom reset day. We're going to get everything out, put it on the bed, sort through all the things, and then figure out where everything's going to live from here on out. As per tradition, we decided to start in the closet, mainly because this is the place with the most stuff that we know we're going to be getting rid of. It's nice to start a decluttering process with a couple of tiny wins, but before we actually start disposing of things, we need to get it all out and put it on the bed. Making sure that your bed is in a user-friendly way first is probably a good idea, just so that then you can actually put things onto that space. Otherwise, you could use the floor, but we find that not having to bend down to pick things up as we go through is just a little bit easier. So we have taken everything out of our closet, and it is quite a lot of stuff. There's stuff on the bed, stuff on the floor, stuff on the other side of the floor. Now we just have to go through all of it and get rid of the stuff we don't need anymore. And then do every other nook and cranny that stuff is hiding in, but this stuff first, because we can't actually open the nooks and crannies just yet.
Yeah.
This is our fucker bucket for today. His name is Alan. Is there anything in particular we want to start with this, or do we just want to go?
I can go.
Yeah.
Don't actually stuff it in
No, and then I'm gonna just take that outside.
As seen, one of the first things we elected to get rid of was an electric blanket, mainly because it's not actually sized to fit our bed. It fit our old bed, but we've had this new one for over a year now. For everything else though, it's effectively just going through each item individually and considering, do you want to keep it? Asking ourselves questions like, do I actually wear this? Do I feel good wearing this? Is it comfortable? Is it in good nick? And if it's not, am I going to take the effort to actually fix it? Although these items are getting chucked into what we're calling the fuck it bucket, that doesn't necessarily mean we're throwing them away. Pretty much all of the items that we're electing to get rid of are still good quality, so they're either going to get sold or donated, with just a very small percentage going into the bin. Notably, we also store a lot more than just clothes in our closet. We also have shoes, bags, towels, sheets. So all of those we're also going through at the same time. Most of these ones are considered with fairly similar questions. So do we use it? Is it still in good nick? But I personally find clothing to be one of the easiest categories to declutter, mainly because I'm very aware of what I do and don't like to wear, whereas a category like bags I find a little bit more challenging, especially because I can kind of see the merits of keeping a bunch of different sized bags or different bags for different occasions, even if they aren't necessarily things that I use very frequently. I did end up getting rid of a few bags in this declutter though, mainly tote bags because I don't have a tendency to use ones that don't have a kind of section out bottom. I also put pretty much all of my dresses into the fuck it bucket, including my bridesmaid's dress from Rachel's wedding, which was certainly a little bit harder to let go of, but I haven't worn it since Rachel's wedding and I'm not really all that inclined to wear it again, even though it's a beautiful dress. I just know that the likelihood of me fitting into it again is slim, and even if I did, I don't necessarily have an occasion to wear it. So we're finished going through all the stuff on the bed, and that's all stuff that's going to get kept. And the fuck it bucket is already looking fairly full, so we're probably going to need to empty that. Excellent progress. We ended up making the super smart decision to empty the fuck it bucket right in the middle of the hallway, which did make navigating the house a little bit more difficult, but that did also mean we were more inclined to deal with it sooner rather than later. While Vogel was emptying that one though, I took the opportunity to actually clean out our closet, so wiping down all of the surfaces and making sure to flip over any of the shelves that haven't been flipped over in a while. After a while of storing things on them, they do kind of start to bow in the middle, so any of the shelves that are removable I do like to take out and flip over once a year. I then figured it was time to put things back, but Vogel was not convinced. He wanted to do a little bit more cleaning, but then we could get on to the reassembly. Now to put all of this back into the closet in a more orderly fashion, and I think there are going to be some elements that don't go in, but we will have to wait and see. One of the reasons that I tend to favour pulling everything out of the closet rather than trying to declutter in there is 1, because the space is tighter in there, so obviously it's a little nicer if you have more space to move around, but 2, it also gives you an opportunity to reevaluate where things are stored. If we had have left the stuff in the closet, there would be a higher likelihood that things just kind of stay in the same places, and while for the most part they did, there were a couple of things that did get moved to different places or different shelves, things that weren't previously stored together that got consolidated onto their own shelf, all of that kind of thing. One of the things that really surprised us was how much space we have in the closet now as we've gotten rid of a couple of key players. One of those was the electric blanket because it took up an entire shelf by itself. But we also moved out some different towels and sheet combinations, in particular ones that don't fit our bed, but also some that don't fit any bed that we have in our house. And also pulling out things that I know I want to store in the bathroom, not in the closet. Mainly my hairdryer, and some boxes of hair dye. So we've got the majority of stuff back in the closet now, and it's looking pretty good. We have a couple of spare shelves, which we need to decide what goes on them. Some of these things don't actually belong in the closet, they belong in the drawers, so we're kind of in a transition state between closet and drawers. So far, what's been the easiest thing to get rid of?
Suit, because it doesn't fit me and I hate it. I'm not very fancy. I wear sweatpants all the time. Next, I'm gonna do my shirts and pants and other more everyday clothes, because that mostly was work stuff or fancy event stuff.
As we've been going through, we also have a couple of items to throw out, so I've just been putting them in here. For instance, all of these pairs of underwear now have holes in them, and that doesn't work, so they are in there. We have quite a collection growing in the hallway. That is a future us problem, but for now, we're gonna get all of the things out of the drawers.
The process for the drawers is much the same as the closet, so getting everything out onto the bed and going through each item one by one, asking ourselves those questions from before. When it comes to the drawers, the majority of the stuff we have in here is actually Vogel's, not mine. So while I went through my items fairly quickly, his required a little bit more time. To help speed him along, I did hold up some items for him and asked him to consider those specifically while he folded his laundry. But all in all, because we did a really big reset at the end of last year and haven't really changed very much in the bedroom since then, the overall process only took about half a day. Comparing this to the first time we did it, where it was more like a day and a half, I really don't think that's all too bad. To clarify, that's a half day for the whole reset, not just the drawers.
One of the fun features that we wanted when we got our new bed were these under bed drawers, but I actually haven't used mine for anything. So what I'm going to do is take all of the pairs of pants that I don't wear quite as often, but I still want to keep them all down there. So then they're out of the way, I don't need them in an accessible place, but at least they'll all be together.
This lightly kind of became a seasonal wear drawer, so it has things like my thicker track pants, and I do end up putting my raincoat in there as well, but it's also got my jeggings in there, which I don't typically wear so much anymore because I don't leave the house very often, and when I'm at home I'm more likely to wear either regular leggings or just kind of yoga pants. I did actually put one pair of yoga pants in here though, which is a pair that I don't tend to wear quite as often because it's not the same style as my preferred style, but it is good quality, it still fits, and it is comfortable, so I'm putting it in this drawer rather than my main drawer, just because it doesn't need to be as accessible because I don't wear it as often. For me, the underbed drawers are for things that I don't need to access as frequently, whereas the spaces in my closet and in my other sets of drawers, I look in there more frequently, so I want to put things that I use more frequently in there. For me, a big thing when it comes to organizing any space is ease of being able to get in there and get things that you need to use. So if you use something more often, it should be easier to get it. Despite the fact that this process only took a half day, that does not mean that it is not tiring. So after all of this running around with the closet and the drawers, getting things out, putting them onto the bed, sorting them out and putting them away, Vogel and I did need to have a lie down just for a little rest because we were not finished. The next thing to tackle is our bedside tables. I find that I don't really store a lot of stuff in my bedside table, so it quite often just starts to accumulate clutter. So going through those, getting rid of anything that was rubbish was pretty important. And also making sure I'm storing things that are a little bit more special in a place that is a little bit more special. Once those were sorted out though, it was time to do some cleaning. This included doing a vacuum of the spaces, a dust of any of the surfaces that hadn't been already, and taking the final items out into the hallway so that we can figure out what to do with them next. While a lot of decluttering projects offer a very big transformation in terms of the before and after, just know that yours doesn't have to be like this. It can just be going through your spaces, getting intentional about what's there, and keeping the things that spark joy. That doesn't necessarily mean getting rid of a huge amount of stuff, but it can be really impactful just having a little bit of a refresh in your spaces. It's all looking much better now. Things are put away, things are where they're supposed to be. We've gotten everything out of the closet that isn't supposed to be there anymore, meaning we actually have a lot more storage space in there than we initially thought. Like, I always knew we had a fair bit of storage space, but now as we've gotten rid of stuff, much more storage space. The drawers have been filled, the space is being utilized better. I also managed to put my power board into my top drawer because I didn't have hardly anything in it. And now we just need to go and deal with everything that we are getting rid of, which is currently sitting in the hallway. Doesn't make for a very move-aroundable space. Some are going to get sold, some of them just need to go to the op shop, and then a couple of pieces just don't belong in our bedroom. They belong somewhere else in the house. I'm honestly feeling so much better about my bedroom though, just knowing that the stuff that I don't want anymore isn't in here is very peace-inducing.
but we do have other areas that we need to declutter. If you enjoy decluttering content, then we do have the playlist at the top here, which is worth checking out. That one has all of our other decluttering videos to get us cool, calm and collected, clean slate feeling for the new year. So click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.